Good afternoon. The story we are reading today is Berry Magic, written by Terry Sloat and Betty Huffman, and illustrated by Terry Sloat. Long ago, before your grandmother's memory, before the salmon berries and raspberries, before the cranberries and blueberries, there were only little black crowberries on the tundra. They grew like little dots on the tops of the hills. Every fall the old woman grumbled about the crowberries. These berries are so dry. These berries have no taste. These berries are not even worth picking. But they picked them anyway, for there had to be a Gouda Eskimo ice cream at the fall feast, and it had to be filled with berries. And Nana watched the old women. She liked the way their brightly trimmed kusbaks decorated the tundra, and while she watched them, a plan grew in her mind. As soon as Anana was home, she took down the sewing bag her grandmother had given her. Inside, she found everything she needed to make 4 little dolls dressed in fur parkas. She even found 4 tiny scraps of cloth colored red, blue, orange, and rose. She made the first doll quickly, stuffing it with dry grass. After stitching pieces of squirrel skin together for its parka, she tied the piece of red cloth around its head for its platuk, a scarf. She made the second doll more slowly. Filling it with soft moss, she dressed it in muskrat fur, trimming it with blue beads. The dangles of blue beads matched the doll's little blue platuk. Anana made the third doll carefully, filling it with reindeer hair. She dressed it in a parka of fine reindeer skin. She placed the doll in the window, letting the sun paint an orange glow on its cheeks that matched the platuk tied around its head. Anana made the last doll with so much joy. She lovingly filled it with goose down, covered its plump body with warm fox fur, and stitched together a tiny pair of sealskin mucklucks for its feet. Finally, she strung a necklace of rosy beads around its neck to match its platuk. She looked at her dolls and slowly drew in her breath. "Huddling," she murmured, for she was pleased. Then Anana wrapped the dolls in her fancy parka, placing them inside her reindeer skin bag along with her dance fans. When the moon began to rise, she carried the bags up a nearby hill. With every step, her load became heavier. At last, Anana reached the crowberries at the top of the hill. She turned in a circle and looked out all around her at the vast, moonlit tundra. When it was time, she untied the bag and slipped the parka over her head. Then Anana began to dance, snuggling the ruff around her face. She sang, "Atsaya, Atsaya, Asukina." Anana peeked down at her bag. Out wiggled a little girl, dressed in a squirrel skin and wearing a bright red platuk. The girl went tumbling down the hill, past the crowberries, leaving dots of tasty red cranberries shining in the moonlight. Anana sang again. "Atsaya, Atsaya, Atsakina." Out of the bag skipped another little girl with blue beads dangling from her muskrat parka, and she wore a blue platuk. While Anana danced, the girl leaped over the crowberries and past the cranberries. She rolled head over heels through the bushes below, leaving clusters of juicy blueberries wherever she went. Anana danced faster, singing louder. A happy girl dressed in a reindeer skin and wearing an orange platuk plopped from the bag. She jumped over the crowberries, sprang over the cranberries, and bounced over the blueberries. She hopped across the boggy grass from hummock to hummock, leaving a trail of tangy salmon berries on a long stem. Atsaria, Atsaria, Atsukina. Knowing there was still one doll left in the bag, Annara shouted with excitement, Atsaria! But she was too loud, and the last little girl was shy. Annana lowered her voice a bit and called, Atsaria! But the little last girl was still too shy, so Annana whispered in her kindest voice, Atsukina. The plump little girl blushed and smiled at Annana as she peeked out from the bag with her rosy beads flying. She gave a great leap beyond the crowberries and the cranberries, beyond the blueberries and the salmon berries, and into the grass at the bottom of the hill. While Annana finished her dance, sweet, rosy raspberries peeked out from the shadows. Annana's heart was overflowing with joy as she hurried home. While the moon was still shining, berries spread from hill to hill. By morning, the tundra was covered with red, blue, orange, and rosy berries. Annana woke early and filled her basket with berries for the fall fest. That night, the old women couldn't get enough of the berry-filled agudak. While Annana danced, she heard them saying, These berries are so juicy. These berries are so tasty. Aling, these berries are like magic. Even the grumpiest woman was smiling. Annana smiled too. And from that day until now, Annana's berries have filled agudaks at every fall festival. And here are some berries that I picked yesterday with my daughter. And these are the cranberries. They're very tart, but you can make jams, you can make jellies, syrup, and the delicious agudak. I hope you and your family has some time before the season is over to go out and gather some berries for the winter.